Did you ever hear somebody use the word whom and you say, when are you supposed to say whom? You know, you might just be someone who always says who in all situations. Well, really, there shouldn't be so much confusion, but it's because whom has fallen out of popular use in our language. But just in case you wanted to know so that you could write it correctly in your term papers or in an article that you write, or just so that you can know the difference and when to use it, and you might actually not even use it, but just so that you know the rule, I'm going to explain it now. It's pretty simple, and you should know that it's pretty much accepted today that you don't have to differentiate between who and whom. Even in English books, they accept who in all situations. But you probably hear people saying whom, and you're wondering why they're putting an M on the end of the word. Well, here's the way it works. I'll first explain it with no grammar rules in a simple way. A simple way to remember is if you have a sentence like they gave it to who or they gave it to whom, and you're not sure which to use, just try substituting in the words he or him and see which fits. If he fits, then you should say who, because he doesn't end with an M and who doesn't end with an M. If him fits into the sentence, then you should use the word whom. Let's give it a try. They gave the gift to he? No, you would never say that. But they gave the gift to him. You would say that. So in this case, you could say they gave the gift to whom as a question, or you could change the order around and say, whom did they give the gift to? Or to whom did they give the gift? There's a lot of different options. But you see where I'm going with that. You can always just use the words he or him as test words. And if him fits, then you use the word whom. So it's a pretty simple rule. Let's do another example. Would you say who or whom did you say was calling? Would you say who did you say was calling? Or whom did you say was calling? Well, let's substitute in the word he and him. He, or in this case you'll have to change it a little bit to you said he was calling, or you said him was calling. Well, now him sounds bad in that sentence. You would say he, and you should ask this question using the word who. So it would be who did you say was calling? Okay, and now one more final example. Would you say who did you invite or whom did you invite? So let's try substituting in the word he and him. You couldn't really say he did you invite, but you could change the order around and say, did you invite he or did you invite him? Obviously you would say him, and so you should say, whom did you invite? So just try to remember, another way to remember this is that I'm pretty sure you can identify the verb in the sentence. So if you know where the verb is, if you're going to put a word before the verb, it should be who. And if you're going to put a word after the verb, it would be whom. Maybe another simpler way to remember too is you can just memorize that if you use any preposition, prepositions are words like to, for, of, with, from, after, against. They show a relationship of space, placing, or of time. If you use any of those words, any of those prepositions, the common ones are for, to, from, with. After those words, you always say whom. That is, if you're following this rule. And you might just have the attitude of who really cares. And in that case, you can just say who all the time and you never need to say whom. And I doubt if anybody will correct you for it. It's quite all right. But now you know the rule, and so you can apply it to your writing, your term papers, or just to impress your English teacher in English class.